But you're right, they are hard.
Okay, well.
All right, you guys can hear us okay?
Yeah.
Excellent.
So right off the hop, thank you all for coming. We are Basements, Faults, and Catapults. That's Trevor.
Hi.
And I'm Aaron. And this will be a live recording session for our podcast. So if you guys aren't cool with that, let us know right off the hop.
Like a regular podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, like Joe Rogan.
You just
like the Canadian version of
We're
We're like Joe Rogan, just less smoking weed.
less a lot of things.
Okay, they know, yeah.
We're a lot of things with Mr.
All right,
Rogan.
I will look you guys up.
Well, actually, my friend, you just sat on one of our cards.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, awesome. Yeah, look you guys up
But
later.
we're very excited to have everybody here. If you are not comfortable being recorded, we totally respect and understand that. Let us know right now. We'll make sure to cut mics and things like that when we interact with you.
Definitely.
But if you are cool with it, we will be editing this, and it'll probably be up sometime later next week.
Just don't say anything too spicy.
Well, we'll edit you out if you do. Don't you worry. We'll do all
Well,
we
my
can.
friends, if you do say something too spicy, through the power of editing, we can
I'll save
change
this
it.
for a bit.
Yeah.
Excellent,
yeah.
excellent.
My voice.
You can be the new Huck Tua girl.
Right?
I talked to Goku Black.
So, we are going to be talking specifically about games in anime and anime in games. And Trevor, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, so I hope you guys are enjoying Otafest, day one. Excellent, excellent. So yeah, we really wanted to talk about anime in gaming. And, you know, we can't talk about anime in gaming without Dragon Ball, talking about Akira Toriyama. Do you guys, who here is fans of Akira Toriyama? Everybody in the room, awesome. This is like,
Wild. I'm
this
the
is the
only
best.
one who's not raising his hand. This
You guys, best audience.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah, we're all sending a spirit bomb to Toriyama, right? Got to do the spirit bomb.
Spirit bomb for Toriyama.
I love it. I love it. So I wanted to kind of point out, how many of you guys also like Naruto?
Oh,
Okay,
this is-
how about Bleach?
yeah, I've seen everything.
How about One Piece?
I've seen everything.
Okay, we got to take it. We got to take it.
You can thank Mr. Toriyama.
Yeah, you can actually
Very true,
Akira Toriyama. Just a very quick thing because I want to give him kind of some credit here. Akira Toriyama kind of randomly ran into a weekly contest that Weekly Shonen Jump was doing. This was in 1978, and he entered the contest just kind of for fun. And he won the newcomer award for his submission and was accepted to start being a regular in the Shonen Jump magazine. So he started with doing Wonder Island in 1978. He got into then Dr. Slump in 1981. Dr. Slump, which basically, the artwork for Dr. Slump was kind of the groundwork for Dragon Ball, right?
And the girl also appeared in Super. Remember Arali or whatever?
She did.
The troll character or whatever, yeah.
Exactly,
That
yes.
was fun.
Exactly.
Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about.
So it's all connected, right? So in with Dragon Quest,
Yeah, so this all ties
Oh, I
into.
haven't seen that yet. I saw part of it, but I didn't find it dub. I could only find it Japanese.
Yeah.
I couldn't even find a sub. It's all Japanese.
it is. So
It's very hard to find that one, yeah.
yeah, and it's great. So Dragon Quest started as a video game, and Dragon Quest was 1986. Akira Toriyama was hired to do the artwork because they wanted to do something different than what the gaming industry had been doing before. So Dragon Quest was one of the first big RPGs. And then he got invited to do Chrono Trigger.
There we go.
Chrono Trigger, yes.
There it
yes.
is.
Yeah.
And so,
It's such a low-hanging fruit to say that Chrono Trigger is your favorite RPG.
This is true, but it's also a great
It's always
RPG.
pretty high up there.
it's a classic, yeah. One of the best. And so, actually the artists and the creators of Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, they all attribute their desire to get into doing manga to Toriyama Sensei. If not for Akira Toriyama, we would have none of these animes. And so the cool thing about that is, how many Naruto video games are there? There's a ton.
Yeah.
Bleach video games, there's a ton. Dragon Ball video games, we've had Dragon Ball video games since Super Nintendo, right? So,
Earlier, I think.
yeah, even earlier. Yeah.
And then we're not even talking the arcade cabinets.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
The Atari. We didn't have any Atari, but for the
Yeah, the Atari was like Frogger, Pac-Man.
Yeah. But definitely for the NES, I do remember. I've played pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like a history lesson.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
this battle.
Well, so with our podcast, we always try to talk about like the background, the history of everything, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like the introduction to talk about almost a lot of our video games, even some of the Final Fantasy games, these all kind of came from Shonen Jump and from people like Akira Toriyama who kind of inspired the industry, right?
What's really important to remember about the Final Fantasy and the Dragon Balls is Dragon Quest, is they came up around the same time. But whereas Final Fantasy was attempting to bring more of a Western audience or a Western feel into Japan, and then, of course, the world being cyclical, now Final Fantasy influences Western RPGs.
Yeah.
Right? Dragon Quest was really trying to bring its own unique sort of, this is what a JRPG should be.
But the fun thing about that is Dragon Quest was 1986. Dragon Ball was 1986. Final Fantasy didn't come around until 1987. So Dragon Quest was first. And that's what set off the chain reaction that started building the next generation of JRPGs.
Which makes it not really final at all, really.
Yeah, trust me, guys. This is the final one. Absolutely.
Final Fantasy just as a name.
Fantasy, like this is the last
Ongoing
typical-
fantasy.
typical fantasy story.
Right,
No, it's
right.
not.
Absolutely.
And on that note, both Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy in particular have had their own anime and anime adaptations, right?
Yeah.
So we're really excited and focused on this idea that games and anime have both influenced and been influenced by one another.
Yeah. So we really wanted to talk about what we do with our podcast is we randomly select a genre, we pick the best and the worst games in that genre, and we play them, and then we talk about it at the end. And so one of the things we wanted to do today is the anime genre, which in our normal podcast, we always joke about like anime is the one we don't want to touch because it's such a wide genre of games.
It's huge.
You never know what you're going to get. But we were like,
It's a medium.
it's a medium. And so we thought Otafest would be a great place to talk about anime video games, right?
Absolutely.
So we wanted to throw it out to you guys to ask, what are some of your favorite anime that were created and turned into video games?
My friend here has something he'd like to say.
Yes.
That's what we're here for. Did you see that happen? That water went down quick.
He's got something in particular he wants to rant to you about.
May I approach the bench?
Yes.
Excellent.
Oi, Trevor, give the man a Kit Kat.
Woo! Yes, we have a Kit Kat for you. Now that's a strawberry chocolate Kit Kat. It's one of those Japanese flavors that they like to do. Yeah.
All right, talk to
All right, so
us.
tell me, anime that became video games.
So this is actually an interesting one
Uh-huh.
because, okay, so I'm not the greatest expert on the history of this one, but the words I do have to say about this. So I would like to begin by talking about its contemporary that gained popularity long after it.
Okay.
So Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
Wait.
more?
No. There's more to this.
That's page 2. You're ahead.
No. There's more to this.
Please go ahead.
So, I don't want to talk about Sword Art Online because that gained its more recent popularity.
Right.
I want to talk about the contemporary that was submitted at the same time, but got bigger earlier, even if nobody really remembers it now. Dot Hack.
Oh, yes.
Hey.
Dot hack sign.
PS2 era, baby.
Yeah.
So,
Some of the best RPG libraries, that's for sure.
Dot Hack. I first played GU back when I was in middle school. It was recommended to me by a buddy who thought I might like it. I didn't really think much of it at first, but eventually I was like, okay, you know what? It's been in my locker for like 2 weeks now. I think I'll give it a shot. I've got enough memory on my PS2 to run it. I play it, and it took over my life for like 2 months.
That's about
As it
right.
does.
That was volume 1. And I did not know about it at that time, but going through it, like going through GU, that was the greatest MMO I have ever played as a single player in my life.
Wow.
And that sounds insane considering I'm talking about a PS2 JRPG
Right.
that is clearly not an MMORPG.
Right.
But it felt like it.
It felt like it
Yeah.
because that was the setting.
Right.
And going back, like I'm still trying to find volume 4 of the original, but I've gone through volumes 1 through 3 of the original, and it still has that interesting feel to it. But when you look at it, it is very clearly defined by it trying to be a game, telling a story about the people playing that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
When you get that feeling when you're playing through it, you feel like you're logging in as the main character doing their stuff.
Yeah.
And when you go watch the anime, you don't really feel like you're following the main character. It's more like you're tangentially seeing what's going on with the main character.
Right. Kind of along for the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Sign and Luminality, I think the moment that really highlights it is the quote-unquote execution of the Silver Knight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's spoilers for
framed-
anyone who hasn't played yet.
Yeah.
So, the Silver Knight was never a character in the actual game.
Oh.
It was an anime exclusive one. But a lot of the stuff that was shown in the game was expanded on in Sign. So when you were watching Sign, you got to see where all of the plot threads originated from that you then got to play through in the originals. And then you tied them up.
Excellent.
Legend of Twilight came after. That was when things were supposedly at peace, and you got to see how the game should have been experienced.
Yeah.
Ultimately failing because of outside shenanigans. But that scene with the Silver Knight when he came back from Luminality into Sign into Legend of Twilight, you got to experience all of the events, and then you saw that banning, which was all framed as an execution.
Yeah.
You did not see it from the eyes of the main cast. They framed the shots as if you were in the crowd watching the banning being executed.
That's very cool.
And that's an interesting way to look at it, and I love how they linked it. When you go into the GU anime of Roots, you don't feel as if you were following the story. You felt like you were watching everything in passing, like you were in the same server as these people, and you were passing them on their way in the root towns.
Right.
And just that combination of making everything like a game, because it was.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a perspective to get everyone into it, and it worked really well.
That's very cool.
That is
very
cool. So
Awesome.
in your opinion then, would it be the perfect blend, both the anime and the game worked well together, or is one sort of more important than the other?
The games are the main point. That's the big one.
That's good.
You
That's
can
good to
play
know.
the games and experience it as they were intended. But when you then subsequently experience the anime,
It fills in a lot of the gaps.
it fills in the gaps, but you don't have to experience it. It's like I said, going into Roots, it felt like you were just in the same server experiencing them from your peripheral.
Oh, that's
Didn't
pretty
need it.
cool.
That's cool.
That's
And I-
awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much
yes,
for sharing.
Like I said, they were both submitted for attempts at publication at the same time. .hack got theirs first.
Yeah.
Years later, we get Sword Art Online, but that's a whole.
No, don't you worry. We have.
We're gonna get to
have
Sword
some
Art
stuff on
Online.
Sword Art.
Oh, we're gonna get to Sword Art
Don't you
Online.
I
worry.
have words about another one. Though.
Well, we'll come on back to you. Anybody else? Did you have like a favorite anime that's now a game, or a game that became an anime?
There are no wrong answers.
There's
Also, quick
zero.
shout out. .hack Sign has a killer soundtrack. If you've ever heard it, it's a banger. Yeah.
Listen, the PS2 era, they had some of the best RPG catalogs we've ever been blessed with.
There's a-
Absolutely.
There is a reason I have Pyros III's theme on my phone to this day.
I love it. I love it. So, any other games that you guys have played that are inspired by anime that you've enjoyed?
See, I have to wonder if you say there's no wrong answers. These might not necessarily
be based on actual anime.
That's okay.
But there's two particular PlayStation 2 games, one of which I'm a huge fan of. My brother's also a huge fan of it. And one that I like even though the internet says it's abject trash.
Okay.
Listen, I watch terrible B movies for fun. So
One of
there's
my
no
favorite
trash.
movies is The Running Man. I don't get to talk. So the first of these games is a dungeon crawler action RPG made by Level 5 way back in mid-2000s called Dark Cloud 2.
I love Dark Cloud 2.
Otherwise known as
Let's
Dark
talk.
Chronicle.
Yeah.
It's a very different from the original Dark Cloud, and it's got you think it's a totally different setting. There's a lot more technological advancements.
Taking pictures of barrels to make
It's a
batteries,
fair bit more
let's go.
steampunk at the beginning. It's got a really crazy plot that I don't necessarily want to spoil it for people. And a whole lot was left on the cutting room floor for it, including a scene in the opening cutscene. Like this thing has like anime style opening with a theme song and everything. No lyrics, but it's got a theme song. And there's a scene where the main character is driving a car, chasing a train, and it's so awesome looking. And my brother and I were so disappointed when we found out that scene is nowhere in the actual game.
Oh no.
The heartbreak.
But honestly, I don't really know how to do the game justice with how big it eventually gets. Well, you can clearly see there's some elements where this was just abandoned in beta. But the other game, and I guarantee there's going to be at least a few people in your audience who will absolutely groan when I mention this game. It's called Musashi Samurai Legends.
Oh,
Musashi.
yeah. That was a PS.
Yeah.
That's a PSX.
That was different than the Brave Fencer Musashi.
Yes, Brave Fencer Musashi is that was on the original PlayStation,
Right.
and it's a totally different game.
Yeah.
And honestly, I played through Samurai Legend years ago, so I don't remember too much about it. But it's a whole thing about him ending up in a different world and having to rescue these princesses, and you can literally pick up the princesses and use them as weapons. Like they do more damage than your damn sword does. You can swing them and just sort of punt enemies, and it's so absurd. There's so much that people hate about this game. They say the combat is super repetitive, and his voice is annoying, and the plot line is super generic. Honestly,
me.
I still like
You
it,
get to use
even though it's
princesses.
terrible.
That's good. You know, some of the best games are terrible games.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, this game is trash, and I know it's trash, but I love it.
But I also especially like how it has a mechanic that I think a lot of games should probably try and do more with, is the idea of you can watch your enemies do things and you can learn how to perform their actual moves, and sometimes it's actually quite complex. And it used, but you know how Metal Gear Rising was supposed to have that system where you could realistically cut stuff?
Yeah.
This game could do that if you cut at enemies, that their models would split
Oh, wow.
alongside the actual cuts that you made with your sword.
That's impressive, especially
It's
for the
high-tech.
technology at the time. Yeah.
And they had this entirely surf rock soundtrack by a band called the Surf Coasters. Surf rock. This game is a fever dream that has to be seen to be believed. And I've played a game where you play as the floating head of Bill Clinton. I'm not joking, by the way. It's called Slick Willy 3. There were 2 more before it.
It's on the list. We might look at it.
If- on the list.
If you can find it.
We'll have to play it. We'll have to play it.
It's a PC game, so like it's relatively hard to find that one.
Fair enough.
Perfect. Well,
I
thank
think
you.
honestly, I feel like it's hard to really pin down anime games to games that have a relationship to an anime series,
Yeah.
because it's, like I said, it's basically a genre to itself. It's got not just one art style, like you gotta know it when you see it, but it's got a million different art styles with its common qualities to it.
The game's fun.
It's-
Oh,
yeah. Well, it just kind of feels different from Western animation. And
Yeah.
so it doesn't necessarily have to have a relationship to anime as a TV medium in order to be considered an anime game.
That's true. That's
That is very true.
Well, thank you very much. That's
Something,
awesome.
something
Awesome.
Xenoblade, probably.
Oh yeah, Xenoblade
I
or
never got an anime series.
one of my personal favorites, Legend of Dragoon.
Oh!
Right?
Legend of Dragoon, but I'm gonna sit here and tell you Xenosaga was the best.
Okay. That's
A type of game that has been surprisingly easy to convert into anime is gacha games.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to gotcha in a second.
Honkai Star Rail, anybody? No?
I was actually going to say Girls Online and Azure Lane.
Azure Lane. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
just input the plug of Jimmy here, like they hit his Wednesday My Dudes guide. Just that plug of him doing his ad for Genshin Impact, and his other one for Honkai Star Rail. His chat decided to make fun of him by spamming that every time he would do his try not to laugh videos.
Yeah, there's we'll get into the gotcha games, that's for sure.
We have opinions about microtransactions.
Ask you about it for the rest of your internet career.
Right. So how about you guys? Any like real standout anime or anime inspired games that you've played?
All right. For me, like I know it's very cliche if I was to say Pokemon.
No,
I guess
Pokemon is an
the
amazing example.
Pokemon anime itself has spanned tons of games. The Pokemon trading card game, video game.
Yeah.
It's a video game trading card game, and then of course all the JRPGs as well. And then of course definitely and
Hey,
then
Ash
Yu-Gi-Oh
animated baby.
Yu-Gi-Oh is another good one because it's already a card game and it has an anime and it has a video
It's
game
time
card
to
game.
duel.
Yeah.
What's wild
And-
about Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh what?
What's wild about Yu-Gi-Oh is it started off as a manga, and
Okay.
he was actually just a degenerate gambler.
Oh yeah. I heard.
and
That
then,
was what is it?
and
Zero?
then he
Yu-Gi-Oh!
eventually started card playing.
Yeah.
But
It was more like what's it? Death games.
I've seen
before.
I've seen season 0 and the
Yeah, season 0, yes, I meant.
it didn't really. There was a single episode about Duel Monsters as a card game. But
Yeah.
there was all sorts of different games he would play.
Yeah, he would just-
Sometimes they were quite psychotic.
Yeah.
No, but you want to know why they did that too? They did that because they wanted to reinforce the idea that he's the king of games.
Yeah,
so
all
all
games,
games,
not just one.
not just the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's also where Dungeon Dice came into the whole equation as well.
Yeah,
and Dungeon
it was
Dice
announced
is kind of
so early on.
Well, I know, but they made a video game for Dungeon Dice as well too. They just didn't expand on the video game, and I played a little of the video game. But I don't want to talk too much Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't want to talk too much Pokemon. I want to go all the way back to the Super Nintendo, SNES, SNES, and talk about Dragon Ball Super Seiya Densetsu, I think. I don't know if it had.
You're talking about the RPG.
Yeah, the RPG. You
One of
played
my
that one?
favorites. That was the one with the cards.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Thank
That was
you.
all the way up to the
I
end of
thought
the
I was
Frieza
the
saga.
only one. Yes. The only issue was it wasn't long enough.
It
That's
wasn't.
the issue I had with it. I wanted them to do the entire, Dragon Ball Z, but because their Super Nintendo doesn't have the power of today's gaming consoles, they could only do up to the Frieza.
Well, when they
saga
did,
as
actually,
well,
I think when
and-
they did the Super Nintendo game,
Yeah.
I think only the Frieza arc had aired. I don't think they
Oh,
had
okay.
aired
Oh,
the
most
Cell
yeah,
arc
most
yet.
because I guess
So-
the game's that old too.
Yeah, and
right?
the game's that old. So we got to the end of the Frieza arc.
Okay.
And,
That was
and
it.
Super Saiyan Goku. But man, that game was. Did you ever play it? Did you ever find an English translation?
No, I had to play it in Japanese.
Right,
A lot
and
of
then
people-
did you ever figure out
found
what
it
the cards
later
actually
and-
were?
No.
Right, neither.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, so you. Oh, wow. I guess we both.
But you would.
I love this podcast. Oh my gosh, I love this freaking podcast.
But you would like play with the cards and you'd be like, okay, I know which cards are good cards.
yeah.
I know which cards are bad cards, but I have no idea
No
what
idea
they
what
do.
they're saying. Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. I guess it's just kind of we saw like the symbols, like what it kind of
Yeah.
looked like, so we had a general idea of okay, if I use that card, it'll do this.
It was like if it's a 5-star ball,
Exactly.
it's more powerful.
Yeah.
It's got a Z on it. It's a
Yeah,
power up.
exactly.
Yeah,
And also they actually made another Dragon Ball Z game that was also a card-based, I think JRPG as well. It was for the Game Boy Advanced, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. I think maybe Legacy of Goku or something like
Yeah.
that.
This,
Legacy
is the part, this is
Goku.
the part where everybody watching this podcast all nods in agreement at the proposal that Legacy of Goku and Legacy of Goku 2 are both trash.
Oh, they were.
They were, yeah.
But I mean, again, we were just talking about that.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Okay,
No, but
but what about Ultimate Battle 22, Final Bout for the PlayStation?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I'm not quite sure it was Legacy of Goku. There was another one. I can't quite put my finger on the name of it, but it also had a card-based JRPG kind of, platform to it, or idea to it, where it was like there were certain attacks, like Vegeta's Final Flash, Big Bang Attack, and stuff. You could like kind of set it up so that you would do certain moves. So it was turn-based in that sense, kind of, and it also went up to about the Frieza saga, I think, kind of, but it was just for the Game Boy Advance.
It wasn't Legacy of Goku. That
Yeah,
was
it
like
was.
top down.
I'm trying to remember
It was
the
like an
name of it.
action RPG.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to look it up and I'm going to have to play it.
Oh, it was great. But the Super Nintendo one, I think it probably drew inspiration from that game.
Yeah.
It just kind of revved it up because I guess it was a little bit, newer, right?
Sadly, I never had a Game Boy Advance.
Oh, you're missing
right?
out on a lot of gaming.
My friends had Game Boys. I had to borrow them because I never
okay.
had a Game
What was
Boy.
the Golden Sun? That
Yeah,
was
I
kinda
was
like-
I was just about to say Golden Sun
Golden
earlier.
Sun was
You played
kinda
Golden
like-
Sun? Oh, Golden Sun is peak.
That was-
I love
that
it.
was the
and Fire
defining
Emblem.
RPG
It
for-
got me into more JRPG. Who was your favorite character in Golden Sun?
Oh, it's been a very long time since I played Golden Sun, so I'm not going to remember the names that well.
For me, Garrett. If anyone remembers
Garrett,
Garrett.
Claire? Was there a Claire?
I think there was a Claire. Yeah,
I
there
feel
was a
like there
Claire.
was a
Yeah.
Claire.
Oh
Which is
wow,
just
we've
such
all
a-
pretty much played the same games. That's awesome.
Yeah, you found
found it.
the right panel.
We're here.
Yeah, definitely.
We've been here for a while.
Yeah, I played a bunch of anime-related, animes based off of games, and Beyblade has a few of them.
Yeah?
It's not even
Yeah?
just
Yeah.
okay, you played some of the Beyblade ones
Beyblades?
too. Yeah. What's another? Metabots. I don't know if you know Metabots.
I almost-
Yes. Metabots is your time. Oh, okay. I'm hoping I'm not eating up into your kind of what
Aren't
what
they
you're going to
rebooting
say a little bit of
Metabots?
that. Are they? I hope so. It was actually my first anime, if anyone could believe that. That was actually the first anime.
Wow.
I was maybe 7 or 8 years old.
We're a bit
Metabots,
older on
yeah.
this side.
And then
These
and then
were-
Sailor Moon was probably second, or Pokemon, but Metabots was the very first anime I ever saw.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing, man. That's a
You're
really
welcome.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
absolutely.
We're gonna have to have
James in the chat of Sailor Jupiter was your favorite.
Right.
For me, I would say my favorite was what was that? Venus, I think. Oh no, the one with the blue Mercury.
Mercury.
Yeah,
Mercury.
Mercury.
Yeah.
She was smart.
excellent.
Nerd
Excellent.
girls represent.
Excellent. Well, I for one love Dragon Ball a lot.
Me too. Oh, so you played tons of games.
I wanted to actually wanted to cosplay as Vegeta because I love doing a Vegeta impression, but I'm too tall. Vegeta's like 4'9". He's just a tiny guy, right?
I could have done a Vegeta.
But I love Vegeta because he goes like,
Kakarot, you cannot possibly be a Super Saiyan. You're not even of royal blood.
right? I love my Vegeta impersonations. So
No team 4 stars.
yeah,
Goku, put your pants back on. We're fighting today.
yeah, I love it.
You said Vegeta is 4'9"?
He's short. He's a little short
Oh,
king.
I remember now. Legendary Super Warriors.
Legendary Super Warriors, yes.
Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors.
Vegeta,
That was
Vegeta
also
is
for me.
Team Short
I
King.
remember that. That was
Team Short
for
King.
me.
Team Short King.
That was a great game.
What level of language is allowed in this panel, by the way?
In fact, that's what
We have a censor button when we edit, so we can beep beep beep.
Okay, no problem, because
So,
But
I'm sorry, I need to share just a tiny bit of cursed knowledge.
Sure,
So Vegeta being 4'9" means he's about 144 centimeters.
that's
Yeah.
about right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Saber from Fate Stay Night
Yeah.
is 150 centimeters.
Oh boy.
Really? Sorry, 154 centimeters.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing up.
it gets better.
Hold on, it gets even more cursed.
I love this.
Dora the Explorer is 157 centimeters.
so you're telling
Based
me
on what?
my man Vegeta is shorter than Dora the Explorer?
I think
Yes.
it's when she's 16.
Yes.
Okay.
Dora's.
That's an early.
Do you know where the map is, Vegeta? Cause I'll beat it out of ya.
Yeah, but who's stronger, Dora or Vegeta?
Listen, I don't want to put money down, but
Vegeta stopped swiping from swiping.
I mean, you guys have seen the big buff Dora the Explorer cosplays. I think Dora could give Vegeta a run for his money. I don't know.
Okay, wait. I mean, of course, I'm referencing something from what feels like a million years ago, but the whole idea that Vegeta and Astolfo weigh the same, even though Vegeta has all these muscles.
Yeah.
So where's Astolfo's weight?
Well, especially since he's been training in the hyperbolic.
Monster can.
Oh, yeah.
That hurts.
Right? Especially because he's been training in the hyperbolic time chamber and the gravity rooms. You'd think he would have denser muscles, right? But he's just a little guy.
But it's like, why does skinny ass Astolfo weigh the same as Vegeta?
That's
Weighs the
confusing.
same.
That's confusing.
because anime has no real rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one by explanation, you think the internet came up with.
I mean, you've
Let's
seen,
not go down that path. This is an all age. So 14 age
No, it's
show.
not.
you've seen the memes where Ash is holding like a Pokemon that weighs like 1,800 pounds, and they're like, Ash is beefy. Come on in, come on in.
My favorite one is that for me and my brother, Nummels are kind of an inside joke. It's just like kind of a meme for us to joke about Nummels. And the thing is, normally, like in the anime, the Nummels are like 3-4 feet tall. And like these things are big. They're way bigger than you'd expect. And then there's this one screenshot I finally found on the internet after a long time. I hope maybe I can get it to you guys. It's of this girl at a league tournament, and she's holding this tiny little numble in her arms like it's a house cat.
Maybe it was a baby numble. Maybe it was a baby.
Well,
It's one of those little tiny numbles that you get as a gift for circulation if your hands get cold.
Love it. Love everything about it.
I love
But
it.
then they get a straw and they steal your coffee right off your desk.
That's great.
All right, I've got one last thing I wanted to add as well too. I think there was a Dragon Ball game as well that was also what was it, a card-based JRPG as well that might have came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, not the SNES.
I'll tell you what, I'll look it up and we'll talk about it on our next episode. I love it. I love it. So welcome. We're just getting kind of acquainted. We're talking about anime-inspired video games. We're talking about
Games that have
right now,
inspired anime.
right now the best ones that we really enjoy. And you, sir, are next.
Do you have
Excellent.
one? Let's hear it.
Yeah. So for me, not really anything that inspiring, I don't think. I preferred the Naruto Ultimate Ninja for the PS2. And that was only because in the earlier 1, 2, and I think maybe 3, you got 3 different ultimates for every character. And it was always fun seeing those cutscenes. And Mike Guy always had the best ultimates ever. Because in the earlier 1 and 2, if you failed, you got an extra cutscene. But if you succeeded, you got a different cutscene. So with Mike Guy, he had one where he was smacking his opponent. He had to do it 40 times. If you failed, he sneezes and he stops at 39.
Oh, of course.
So he just picks up his enemy and just runs off into the distance. And
I
then-
love everything about that, man.
Yeah.
But we got to move on a little bit here. We
Yeah.
are pushing 11 o'clock. So
But that's fine. I'm just saying, not too original, but those are my favorite because I feel like those may have inspired some of the extra ultimates that you see in like Marvel vs. Capcom. I think for the what was it, the Xbox?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe I have my thing mixed up here.
That is, yes,
I
absolutely.
did play
Thank you.
a few Naruto games, not as many as some of the older animes. I got out of gaming a bit more, like just the Naruto Ninja Storm 1 and 2 and stuff. I always really appreciated the story mode of a lot of the Naruto JRPG games. The story mode had a kind of different feel compared to some of the older ones that I had been playing. But I think Dragon Ball Z, like the Budokai games, they started kind of following that pattern first, and then Naruto just kind of followed after that. So I definitely still see Toriyama was kind of the one that probably inspired a lot of that.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, Toriyama basically inspired One Piece. All the creators of One Piece, Naruto and Bleach, and they were all kind of inspired by Toriyama. So yeah, for me, Dragon Ball, like the final belts, the Budokai. I still have my Budokai 2 or Budokai 3.
Those games are great.
I love them. I love them. But the original RPG for Super Nintendo was by far my favorite. Like best adaptation, just kind of the most nostalgia, you know.
I thought it was the only one. That's great.
No, I love that game. I love that game.
And
Cool.
he was actually talking about it all day yesterday. Yeah, he was
And it was
up into
never
it.
dubbed. It was never
It was
dubbed.
it was never even fan
There's-
translated.
You know, you might
Yeah.
be surprised. There might be a fan translation came
might be
out.
now.
All the diehard fans actually had to find it and play it in Japanese.
Yeah, and not knowing what the heck was going on, we couldn't read anything. And it had a story mode. We were like,
Those sweet, sweet moon runes.
yeah. So we've talked a little bit about
The best.
the best. Now we're gonna have to visit the worst.
The worst. And I understand all of you are going to have something to say, and oh God, do we want to hear it? But we do have a time limit, so let's keep it to 5 to 7 minutes a pop.
Sounds good.
Think we can play that game, guys?
Sounds good.
I have
All
Kit Kats for all of you.
To start with, I don't know its name. I think Caesar, you know its name. It's a particular Yu-Gi-Oh game. It's on, I think, the Game Boy Color. And it's the one.
Stories?
Is it the one where like there's the different star signs?
Yeah. Oh, I think I know the one you're talking
Shell of
about.
Destruction?
I think I know.
No, that's not it.
Oh
That's not
wow! You guys know
It's,
the Yu-Gi-Oh!
it's this super complex one that's virtually impossible to actually beat.
Was
Alright,
it based
alright.
off of Battle City?
No, it's earlier.
Oh, earlier than that. Oh, okay. The earliest I know is
For
Dark
some
Duel
reason,
Stories.
the name.
Dual Stories?
They captured that. Dark Duel Stories wasn't that. It wasn't that.
I know for sure there was a YouTuber who did like video of him 100%ing it. It was just absolute pain the whole way through because the rules are terrible and it's got this complex system that explains nothing about these different like. I swear it's got something to do with astrology, like.
No, I know which one you're talking about, but I can't remember what it's called. It came
Me
after.
too. I played pretty much all
There's
of
like
them.
there's sun,
It came
moon,
after
star,
It came
isn't for Forbidden Memories.
Oh, okay. Yeah, oh,
But
wow. Okay, we're getting warmer here.
Are there any really bad games that you guys can remember the name of by chance while they Google it?
Listen, we
Go ahead.
love the general hate, but names.
Which game do you think was one of the worst?
I won't say it's the worst, but definitely you see a dramatic decrease in quality, and you know it was just to get money because of the title. It was the Naruto. What was the game? What was the Nintendo one? It's like it was for the DS. I think it was like I forget the series for the GameCube one, but they were playing off of that one. That had horrible graphics. I know it was because it was on the DS and everything, but it's like I literally played that a lot. And I noticed that certain characters their ultimates did more damage than others,
Forbidden Memories.
but it was just really crap. I found. I did not enjoy the DS one.
To that point, like a lot of these Naruto fighting games and the Bleach fighting games, there were a lot of the times it was a money grab and just a roster update, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're in the Shippuden arc now, we can add these 6 new ninjas. Oh, we're in the Sound Invasion arc, we can add these new ninjas, right?
That's my biggest problem with the Wii version because they added obstacles, and now it's just like, okay, I'm running and I climb a rock. It's like,
Oh, silly. What else do we got, guys? Have we narrowed down the Yu-Gi-Oh
Before we
game?
jump ahead, I just want to let you
figured it
know,
out.
because we're doing a recording session, we'll only record you if you're comfortable with it. We don't want to make anybody uncomfortable today. Excellent. Please do. We love it.
We figured it out. It's definitely Dark Duel Stories.
Dark Duel Stories. Was it a Yu-Gi-Oh game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, Dark Duel, the Shadow Realm.
The Shadow Realm. I have the Millennial Puzzle.
Actually, you're right. There were some issues with that game a little bit. I'm trying to
They had all these different, I think, Guardian Stars.
Fair
And
enough.
They had these obscure effects on your cards that it affected what their weaknesses were. Maybe I'm forgetting some details, but I know for sure it affected the gameplay in this really strong way, and it told you nothing.
Fair enough. Well, I got to tell you guys, my worst game of all time. So we talked about this earlier, Sword Art Online, right? Who loved Sword Art Online?
The anime.
The anime. And like, let's talk season 1. Like season 1, Sword Art Online, right? Season 1 was phenomenal, right? Where it was like, okay, cool, I can full dive into this virtual world. Have any of you played any of the Sword Art Online games? Okay.
I've been advised.
With any luck, I never will.
Yes.
I've been advised not to that public portion.
Well,
Do not.
someone really likes you.
The Sword Art Online games were basically like, so similar to .hack or Hack Sign, where they kind of were creating this MMORPG world. They tried to do that with Sword Art Online, but it lost all meaning. The gameplay was terrible. The graphics were okay, but like the game mechanics were bad. There was like no believability. .hack did it better. But it was like, has anyone played VR? Done a little bit of VR?
A little bit.
So I decided to get into VR because I was like, oh my God, Sword Art Online, this is so cool. So I got a VR headset and you put it on and you're like, there's some cool stuff in VR, I got to admit, but it's bad. It's bad.
We're not there yet.
We're not there
boys.
yet. We're very far from full dive, you know?
Hey, at least it doesn't fry your brain.
There's that.
Unless the only thing you feel is when you walk into your wall, right? Like, that's happened to me a couple of times.
But the idea that even obscures your vision is absurd to me. Like, why can't it just be a more augmented reality thing where you can see it and the world in front of you at the same time?
Right?
I've never
They
understood
tried that with Google Glasses, and people were more likely to be cruel to people they saw in these augmented visors than they were to another just perfectly
This
normal
sounds like a
person.
society problem.
You're not wrong, but to coin a phrase, we live in a society.
So,
Yeah, better than the alternative.
That is true.
bad games.
Yes,
Bad games, hit us.
Here we go.
So, I'm going to just say something that not a lot of people might get, but I love the Warriors games. Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Warriors Orochi. I love it. So, when someone told me that there was an anime-esque inspired version of it called 99 Nights, I figured, you know what, I'll give it a try.
I always go with this. You just ranted at us earlier about this.
Oh, the character rant is going to be a thing, but how do you fuck up a hack and slash game?
Easily, actually.
Yeah, it was surprisingly easy. But do you know how badly they did it? There were moments where you have nothing to slash at.
Yeah.
There was a moment where in a mission I was like, okay, I'll give this a try, I'll play through this mission. There was nothing for like 10 minutes and I was like, what is even the point here? And I gave up at that point.
Fair enough.
Hey,
But
just real quick,
that-
sorry. Welcome to the panel. We are recording the live episode. If you're comfortable being recorded, awesome, we will interact with you. If you're not, let us know and we'll give you all the respect you need.
Okay.
Cool.
Can I check out any other panels in the meantime?
You do whatever
Yeah,
you want, man.
absolutely.
We love to have you here.
You can come and go, do whatever you like. This is Otafest. It's all about you guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of quiet anyway, so you can probably freely come in because it's not going to be crowded.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey.
Fair enough. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I gave up on it because it just was not working, I then started to notice a lot of details that were just like, how does this work? Why is this a thing? And the one that finally broke it for me was one of the main characters.
Here goes.
The main character herself, Inphi. INPH. God, I can't even remember it. All I know is it starts with an I, ends with a Y. And what drove me insane was her outfit. ignoring everything from the waist down, it's a perfectly serviceable anime-esque outfit. What drove me insane is the fact that she's wearing armored stockings. It's not armor on top of stockings. No, it is literal stockings that are armor.
That doesn't sound very practical.
It isn't.
No, and this is a problem in a lot of anime genres, games, video games, is that the armor tends to not be practical.
Yeah,
and
well, we need to talk about practicality versus, artistic
The armor
design.
itself is, on the stocking is skin tight.
yeah.
That doesn't even begin to make sense. At least if it was armor, you'd see it protruding a little bit out from the skin.
Yeah, I mean, what are they, Iron Man? Come on, Yeah.
It wouldn't have been so bad if the game was actually good,
Yeah.
or at least respectable. I could have ignored it. But the fact that it failed so miserably, it was just like the cherry on why is this so bad?
Alas, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yep.
Yeah, so how about you, Aaron? What is like your
Ooh.
top bad anime
Bad?
adaptation to a video game?
Oh, Lord have mercy. For me, the absolute worst sort of anime/video game adaptation was I started with my first JRPG was the Phantasy Star series, and I love the Phantasy Star series. Then Phantasy Star Online came, and unfortunately for everyone involved, Phantasy Star Online, the second run around, and while there's no real anime adaptation, we can all sort of agree that it has a very anime feel or anime-esque to it, especially in that sci-fi vibe. But there was one released for the PS2, I want to say, or maybe PS3, but it was basically a card battler. And I have never been more offended by what a JRPG was and had become than in that moment. Because in the original Phantasy Star, it was very sort of traditional party based, and Phantasy Star Online sort of paved the road for the action RPG, and then this card battler game. And I was so mad. And I still haven't forgiven it.
That's fair. That's fair. I do, however, vote for Sword Art Online being the worst adaptation of animated video games of all time.
Okay.
Just because the anime had so much promise, you know.
Oh, yeah, true.
It did, and then they
And
ruined
then
it.
season 2.
And then they ruined it. Yeah. And then comes the clone Kirito, where every isekai anime for the next 10 years was basically clones of the Black Swordsman Kirito, right?
As if it wasn't already a clone of something else.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like,
Yeah.
honestly, I
say-
have the funniest idea for a costume for next year. I'm just going to come as a generic light novel protagonist.
I
Boom,
like it.
done.
I like it. People ask, "What's your cosplay?" I'm a generic protagonist. Yes, I love it.
I'm the
What
hero
is
of
my
this
costume?
story.
I'm
I love
every anime protagonist of every terrible anime for the last 10
So
years.
you need a bandana, blue spiked hair, or spiked hair in general.
No, I'm light novel protagonist.
So that means black hair.
Black hair, yeah.
Well, I think it's time to go down a different route.
I think it's time to move along.
Oh, you've got one more? Okay, we'll take one more. Let's do it.
Well, out of the ones I've played, I'd say the worst anime adapted video game was Metabots AX Metabee.
Okay.
That game, the reason for that I would say out of the ones I've played is that if anyone actually watched the Metabots anime, the way that you would actually knock out a Metabot was very different from that game, where it wasn't like turn-based. It was more like you'd actually attack like a free-for-all battle royale.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons. Infinity is worse than that?
Yeah, I played the whole thing.
I prefer turn-based for Metabots because the actual anime was more like turn-based, kind of.
Cool. Very good.
Yeah,
You know,
didn't follow after.
I gotta admit, I've never played Metabots, but we're gonna.
No, worse than you all ever played.
Even worse.
Yes, worse than AX.
And what console was that one?
GameCube.
GameCube? Oh, even newer.
Sounds like I'll have to spin up the old GameCube. Give it a try.
Well, we are going to be touching Skies of Arcadia on the GameCube soon, so maybe we can.
That's true.
That's a good one.
Were they still able to use the metaphors in that game? Because the metaphors is your strongest move for any metaphor.
Yeah. Sure.
That's the issue with this game. You're not allowed to even use the metaphors.
No, you are. You have to stand still.
Oh,
In
yes.
AX, you hold the A and Y button, and you just stand there. It's like, okay, we're waiting.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
The fact that
Yeah.
he didn't know that is an indictment in
Itself.
itself.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Well, that's like when you're watching the Dragon Ball
We
Z.
both have cases for this game.
Yeah, that's like when you're watching the Dragon Ball Z dub, specifically like the YTV aired dub, and it's like every episode is just like Goku like, "Hut!" and then it's like next time on Dragon Ball Z, "Hut!" next time on Dragon Ball Z, right? I am Frieza.
But that was worse than the Android saga, can we admit? Because
Yeah, that's
how many
true.
times Cell was allowed to survive?
Oh
It
yeah.
was much worse in the Android saga than even Frieza.
You blew me up again, Goku.
Because in the Frieza saga, it was Frieza toying
Yeah,
with everyone,
yeah.
but in the Android saga, it was everyone toying with Cell.
It's true.
I like
Cell,
to
man.
clarify
He just wanted to be the
Frieza
Frieza
Saga contains an entire episode dedicated to a transformation sequence.
Yes.
I'm not making that up.
True.
Yes, the only show that has a longer transformation sequence is Sailor Moon, which I love.
No, but Sailor Moons are beautiful.
We love it. We love it.
Because we can use our imagination.
Sailor Moon's transformation sequences didn't last an entire
Sailor Moon.
episode.
Sailor Moon is one of my favorite animes of all time.
Hold
So,
on, hold on.
yeah.
Which season
wasn't even
of
as-
Season 5, Sailor Stars. Episode 100. Episode 186. Episode 186. Right? Episode 186 when they're on the airplane and their identities are revealed.
Sorry, no, we're cutting time, guys. Sorry about this. We gotta move on. I apologize.
All right. We're gonna talk about now the reverse, right?
Yeah. Wait, what? Reverse what?
Games that have been turned into anime.
Oh, games that have been turned into anime.
Do we want to touch on that?
I will get the ball rolling, and it's with my favorite series, which is the Persona series. So Persona, if you haven't played it yet, which I doubt very much given who we have in the room, but in case you haven't, Persona generally follows Jungian psychology vis-a-vis the soul and the sea of souls, and this idea that we all take on archetypes and roles based on our perceptions of others and their perception of us. For those of you who went, what did he just say? It's all about masks, baby. So in the Persona series, you quite often take the role of a youth engaging against the corrupt adulthood and fighting that. It's a spin-off of the Shin Megami series, which is also an excellent series. But Persona has the unique, ever since the Persona 3, it has had an anime spin-off. So Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5 have all had anime spin-offs. They have all been excellent. And much more importantly, in my book, is they were so successful is they've spun off even more than that. There's now manga series, there's now stage plays and musicals, all based on this video game. Which, boom, right? Like that is quite an impressive achievement.
Yeah, we actually had a couple voice actors at Otafest that did the Persona 3. So that's pretty cool.
It is. Your boy, what's his
I'd actually never met him before. I went to his panel.
I don't remember his name.
Well,
It was Joe Zija.
Joe Zija.
Zija. Joe Zija. Yeah. So he did Persona 3. That was cool.
very cool.
Allegra Clark was also Mitsuru.
Ah, very cool.
Good to
very
know.
cool.
How about you, Trevor? What was your favorite video games anime?
It's probably cheating a little bit here, but the Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Oh no, that's
Yeah, because it's not really an anime per se, but
Japanese studio. Baby.
it's Japanese studio. It's kind of more CG, more 3D animated, but Cyberpunk, decent game. Edge Runners,
I've heard good stuff about it.
very good, right? I don't know. That's got to be mine. Edge Runners.
yours.
Yeah, it's just like the art's very nice. The character's very lively and very
Yeah,
energetic.
and to the credit of cyberpunk as a genre is supposed to be pretty depressing. So, oh man, if you guys haven't seen Edge Runners, I can't recommend it enough.
Dark future.
But ooh, Rebecca.
Is it as colorful as Jet Set Radio Future?
More
Not
colorful,
quite.
Me and
but
my friends played that so much.
it's got way more color to it.
Early to it. Okay.
Way more color, but it's darker in terms of like subject matter.
Excellent.
But I guess we'll open it to the floor if you'd
Well,
like.
let's open it up to the floor. So how about you guys? Do any of you have a game that was then first a game and then became an anime?
Or equally valid, a game that you would love to see become an anime.
Yeah.
This is actually one we were just discussing. That is Mega Man Battle Network.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, before we got into the panel.
Didn't they have an anime based on that?
Yes,
Mega
they
Man and Good Warrior.
Yeah.
No, it came out.
That was actually my very first experience with Mega Man as a franchise.
Wow.
And it was ahead of its time.
And,
We agreed.
And like, this is delving into a bit of an obscure corner of the internet. If on the unlikely chance that anybody listening has heard of a group called the Mechanical Maniacs, they were the easiest way to describe it is like a collaborative writing group who would basically role play as different bosses for Mega Man 3 as if they were superhero secret identities. And there was all sorts of other groups that were all based on the bosses from different games, and I was in quite a few of them actually. The thing is, I feel like there's only a few people that would necessarily understand because it was as big as it was. It barely touched on other parts of the internet, but it was a big thing for itself at the time.
Very cool.
And
Very cool.
The thing is, it used every single part of the franchise, the classic games, X games, even the Zero games were involved in it at the time. But the Battle Network ones were usually kept separate since it's a totally separate timeline. But maybe I'm just rambling at this point.
No, man.
All good,
That's
all
what
good.
we're
It was
here
a
for.
huge part of my teenage years as being part of this community.
I love it.
Doing something, being a part of a group.
Does anyone know? I mean, fun fact. What the original game title, English game title was, possibly Japanese game title for Mega Man before it was Mega Man. Rockman, yeah, which kind of sounds like a really cool band name, right? Rockman.
But it was too hard for people to get it confused because like there's already say Fireman and Iceman.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound like it's related to rock music.
Right, yeah,
So
that's true.
the reason why they changed it.
You know, I went back and I played the original Rockman, thinking this is going to be a piece of cake. I played this. I played it as a kid, but as a kid, like I got like pretty far. As an adult, I can't pass the first level. I don't know what happened.
He's doing it in the wrong order.
An obscure piece of history. There used to be this photo comic called Spastic Plastic. And it was about like these plastic Gumby-like figures.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a running joke that like even though they were like 6 inches tall or so, a lot of them were really into video games, and you'd actually see them with like real-size NES controllers playing it like it's an arcade machine. And I don't remember exactly how this went, but he says to our character, at least I didn't use Game Genie codes to beat Mega Man. That game was impossible, you die now!
Yeah, Mega Man X was the first Mega Man game that I actually legitimately beat on my own without cheats. Mega Man X was a good time.
What else we got?
Mega Man 1 will absolutely destroy you.
Yeah, what else we got?
I suppose I might as well delve into my realm of gacha hell.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Trevor, if you guys do check out the podcast, and we would be so happy if you did.
I'm a regular listener.
Trevor and I have very strong opinions about microtransactions.
Oh my gosh.
Let's start with that damn horse.
Damn horse.
Horse armor, only $15.
What,
Come
you
on
guys don't
down.
have phones. And it just, so gacha games for us are just something we go into. So I can't wait to hear yours.
So, okay, so worst gacha game turned into an anime.
Oh boy, that is.
It's like slamming 3
How deep does this fault go?
with that PNG.
So, let me.
We get kicked out in 30
Let me
minutes.
just pull up the files.
It's like that terrible Digimon MMO. I don't know.
All right.
Oh, yeah, there was a
yeah.
really bad Digimon game too.
All right. So you have to understand, I have played gacha for a while. I did Kantai Collection, into Azur Lane,
Oh god.
Girls Frontline,
Where do you think Otafest
Grand
rated?
Order.
How about Nikkei?
Yes, I've
Okay.
gone into
Okay, how about
Nikkei.
Destiny's Child?
No, thank you.
That's the band
I
name.
wanted to see how far the rabbit hole went. Yeah.
I have been into Blue Archive.
I'm gonna take a leap. Are you on the Honkai, the Zen list,
Yes,
or?
yes.
Oh yes. My brother.
Believe me, I have a rotating cycle of gacha hell to go in.
We can give you.
May I
You don't
may I
have to
ask
do
the
this.
ever burning question?
Do you play Raid Shadow Legends?
Okay, we'll start with, do you play Raid Shadow Legends?
By the way, gentlemen,
No.
today's stream is sponsored by.
No, and I would like side comment about that. You know how bad it is when there's no less than safe content for it. How bad is it? 6 stories on AO3, none of them degenerate.
Oh, you poor.
But the
You guys are weak.
real question,
Set your game up.
and you do not have to answer this by any means, please. This is entirely up to you. How much money do you think you've spent on gacha games since you've started?
Oh, you can just ask something like that.
And that's the end of the meeting, folks. He's getting water. Yes.
It's okay. We're moving on.
It's okay. You do not have to answer that question. You do not have to answer that question.
I was promised this was.
I mean, I spent
I
over.
can tell you about his microtransactions.
Okay.
So, let's see. If I'm being honest, let's talk about my other addiction of Warhammer 40k.
Oh, who's your mains?
Tau.
Adeptus Sororitas. We can't get along.
Oh no.
No, we somewhat can. We somewhat can. We both collectively agree that demons suck.
That is true. Well, no, you boys got Farseer. What's his face?
Farsight.
He's coming in. He's corn corruption. You calling it now?
No, Korn just likes him. But anyway, point is, calculating the rough points cost, calculating the rough amount of rough value of my army, I have it pinned at about 2,000 to 3,000.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That is.
I think that's healthy. That's a good.
probably.
That's what 6,000 points.
No, it's roughly about
Yeah.
3,005.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's probably comparable to my gacha payments.
I mean, so how many of you use Steam as a gaming platform on PC?
I have literally over 1,000 games in my Steam library.
But
Good.
anyways,
Good.
so going through them, I would like to say that of all the anime, and it really pains me to say this, but I honestly think Blue Archive, Kantai Collection, and Azur Lane have some of the weaker showings.
Okay.
Blue Archive just because
Oh, you gave me the Dragon Ball Z.
Blue Archive mostly because it feels very like I haven't seen the full thing, so my view on it is a little skewed. So I'll probably rewatch it to get a better opinion. But Azur Lane, the saving grace for it is the dub and how much fun the voice actors had doing their accents for it.
Fair enough.
I will admit I have the Marine Sencho voice pack for battleships.
World Warships.
World of Warships.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And the Botan.
But
Things got dark.
A chapter of this fanfic will be released every time classified information is leaked on the War Thunder forums.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
13th chapter. That's 13, right?
13 at time of initial.
Wow.
Anyway, Kantai Collection and Azur Lane, in my mind, are the for sure weakest showings of games that became anime.
Okay.
Azur Lane had weakness in trying to do the story, and it just falling a little flat.
I was so
Well, actually, no, Azur Lane had the better story, but the way it was executed fell a little flat. Kantai Collection had a story attempted to be influenced, and then they broke all of their rules.
Yeah, the thing that I found with those two specifically is they were just really trying to be Arpeggio of the Blue Steel, which is a manga series and an anime.
No,
series.
yeah,
I haven't heard that name in years.
But like they were good. like Arpeggio was amazing.
Kantai Collection, I do not recommend watching it. Azur Lane.
Too bad, I'm watching it tomorrow.
Azur Lane, I recommend watching the dub because it is so much fun just to hear the voice actors do their German accents. Or their British accents.
Oh dear,
There
oh
is
dear,
so
oh dear.
much fun with the dub,
I-
just in how ridiculous it is.
I have the same feeling with the dub of
But-
Panzer.
Girls and Panzer?
Girls und Panzer.
Girls und
That's
Panzer.
Und Panzer.
This maniac made me binge Girls and Panzer with him.
It's so cute.
Yes, you absolutely need to introduce your friends to the good bad anime.
That
Yes,
said,
We watched Glitter Force and Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere.
I love it.
Your life has
that
very
said,
little meaning now,
on the
but that's not your
complete opposite
fault.
end of the spectrum, I will fight to defend the Girls Front Line and the Arc Knights anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Arc Knights did a great job showcasing how the story would actually play out in a non-gameplay perspective. And in Girls Front Line, well, it's literally John Wick.anime.
I love it. I love it.
John Wick.
So, thank you very much for that. We love to delve into the best and the worst because I think to really appreciate the genre of anime and video games, we need to kind of understand the contrast between both.
Yeah.
So, what's next on our docket? What do you want
What's
to tackle?
next on our docket? Let's see. Make fun of people, ask people questions, make fun of people.
Making fun of myself.
Make fun of each other.
Make
talk
funny
about
voices.
Toriyama. Did we talk about Toriyama?
We talked about
We
Toriyama.
talked about Toriyama.
Wait, the last question we did before, was it which anime you
I
wish
guess-
became a video game or video game you wish became an anime?
We just did that.
Yep, video games that you either had a bad anime
For me, it
adaptation.
would just be Golden Sun.
Golden Sun would be an amazing
That's
anime.
Yeah, thanks. It would be good as an anime.
I would
Okay.
pay unbelievably good money to get a full Tales of, like Tales of Arise, Tales of
Oh, wait,
Fantasia.
I know. You know, buddy, I think actually Level 5 did this one too.
Rogue Galaxy? Are we talking Rogue Galaxy?
No, it was a PSP.
Can we talk about Rogue Galaxy?
Yeah.
No, sorry, you go
So
ahead.
on PSP there was this, I want to say, tactical RPG, kind of similar to something like Fire Emblem,
Yep.
Jeanne d'Arc.
Oh,
Okay.
Jean d'Arc, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually kind of does have an anime, but not because of the game, but because of the historical figure.
Yeah.
Very different game. I get exactly what
I
you're
honestly
saying.
would like to see an anime adaptation of that game's storyline. That
It was
Hawkeye.
it was gorgeous. It was haunting. It was very French.
Absurdly French.
Oh, yes, it is very French.
Listen, you guys can mock the French all you want.
The language of romance.
Expedition 33 has made me forgive them everything.
There's no Canada like French Canada.
Hey, there is no Canada like a French Canada.
Les petits sur les percas.
Right?
Anyway, I guess the last 20 odd minutes we really wanted to kind of talk about podcasting and how we sort of do it, and if you guys had any major questions you'd like to ask about the formats.
Yeah.
And like Trevor here has done an amazing job compiling like a list of starter gear, things like that. If you guys are interested, and if you're not, we can go back to anime. But definitely raise your hands if you have any questions at this stage, or did Trevor want to move us somewhere else?
No, we've also got a fun questions. If we have some extra time, we'll just
We got
banter
some
for a
fun
bit with you
questions.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so podcast related questions.
Podcast related questions. So everything you see here
Yes, no.
This is all of the gear required if you wanted to start your own podcast.
That's not
Everything.
true.
Well, except for this. So this.
We need a $10,000 speaker system.
No. So actually, this little box, some arms, some microphones, and a laptop. That's all you need, and you can start your own podcast.
And
Internet, of course.
Internet, yes.
well, and the beauty of it is if you just have your cell phones, those can be your mics,
Does
right?
Scarlet Duo on it, that's there?
The which one? That is a Scarlett Focusrite 4i4. It has 2 inputs, yeah, and also has like MIDI inputs for instrumentation and stuff.
I got a Scarlet Solo at home and a Shure
Look at
SM58.
you.
Nice.
Maybe you
Yeah.
found your calling.
Maybe.
This is the PGA 58. I'm using it just for the little interviewing today.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been doing this for about a year and a half now,
Okay.
and this is our first Otafest panel. We're
It's our
really-
first panel ever.
Well, there's that too.
Oh,
It's our first panel
Good
ever.
job so far.
No,
Thank you,
yeah,
thank you.
You guys should consider branching out to Anime Store in a few months. You know, Anime Store,
We're definitely thinking.
Because I'm going over there too this summer, and maybe we'll see you guys again, and we'll be in the panel.
Yeah, we're Edmonton based, and
Oh,
we're
okay,
trying to
okay,
get
okay.
as far out as we can. But
Awesome.
this has been a really wonderful experience. So I'd like to take a moment to thank the audience here
I'll
for
let my
chilling with
friends
us.
tell a friend of a friend of a, and then.
That's all we can ask, and that's more than we deserve. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And on that note, I guess fun questions. If
Yeah.
you guys would like some fun trivia that we've kind of worked our way.
I will let you guys know though too that on the cards there's an email on there. You can reach out to us if you want to share your channel with us, if you want to share some of your ideas or games that you love to play. Reach out. We also have a Discord where if you reach out to us, we'll share the link. We invite you to the channel, and you guys can come chat with us anytime you want. Anytime.
And
That's what you got.
Oh, yeah, this is the beginning of the friendship.
I need to show you the nightmare that is.
for our fun
I can move it in the
questions,
ratings are quite bad.
we're just gonna do like a nice little raise of hands, things like that. And maybe we'll do a little bit of deep discussion. But when it comes to subtitles or dubs, where are we
Subs
here?
or dubs?
I'm a sub person, but I can do both.
Now, back in the day, when I was coming up in anime, and I'm pushing 40,
Yeah.
it was always subtitles because the dubbing environment wasn't there yet, right?
I will be back to answer that. I gotta make.
I can't wait. So, yeah, for most of us, it's kind of a both depending on the title.
Okay, votes for subs. Votes for subs. Votes for dubs.
Votes for dubs.
All right, so we're a subs.
We're a subs
fandom.
people.
My brother was here, his hammer would be up too, so don't feel alone.
No, I'm a sub guy. I'm a sub guy.
He's busy tonight, so.
But I can also read.
Yes.
While I don't like the dubs, the international changes that they do, you gotta admit, are hilarious, especially the One Piece stuff.
Ghost stories. Yeah.
Ghost Story.
When they're good, they're really good.
Dude, they're bang
When they're
on.
bad, they're really bad.
Well,
Yeah.
also the languages are very different when you start to understand.
Yeah,
both
and there's
languages.
cultural jokes as
Yeah, there will be
this
certain
fellow's
things
coming to
that
that.
can't be translated.
Don't translate,
You've
yeah.
got a hand up in the back.
Go.
Like you said, it depends on the quality of the dub.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time I prefer subs just because the dub doesn't really live up to the original, but a few exceptions, a notable few exceptions that I have,
We have a list, so let's see if they match.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes,
Yes, Yu-Gi-Oh.
The power of the Millennium Puzzle.
We also would have accepted Ranma 1.5
Ranma what happened? Okay, my favorite character, Hokusai.
and Inuyasha.
Ranma, my boy! Ranma, my boy!
This is the beginning.
Beginning of friendship. Well, you know it's funny because Ranma,
The only choice.
right? Hokusai running around, he's like, what a hole! What a hole!
We have two friends who independently decided of their own accord to come as Renma and Genma respectively.
Oh, I love it. I am Genma Saotome. Yeah.
He's like walking around in a panda costume that he modified, carrying a sign. with
God,
like,
I love it. I love it.
I just like Apple size fights with the little old lady.
Oh yeah, the little old lady. That's really, it's kind of a romantic interest for him, isn't it? But he's like, oh, you're so old, and it's like, come on, you guys love each other. Yeah.
We're all gonna get there someday.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Versus dubs.
Yeah.
A history.
Well, let's keep it quick. We're running on our time limit here.
A lot of dubs, in my mind, became iconic, and you can't really watch them anywhere else.
Okay, hit
Things
us.
like Yu-Gi-Oh, card
Yeah.
captors.
Yeah.
but not the
Inuyasha.
weird-
Inuyasha had a great job.
Controversy you have to
Sorry,
This-
I want to also specify that the part of the and yes, I will fight for a lot of these dubs because they were
Absolutely, yeah.
fun rides. I'm not going to disagree that there are subs that do better quality voice acting and probably are more in line with the original vision.
Right.
But a lot of what happened with the dubbing scene back then is iconic in and of itself. Now, I want to talk in particular about one
College
dub.
kids just getting $20 for the day.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that until 3 a.m.
Ultimate Muscle.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Ultimate muscle.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Muscle.
Ultimate Muscle is also tied into this because it was an anime that became a game. Yeah.
Oh,
Look
wow.
at you. Thanks for coming by, man.
Thanks for coming.
And it was another sequel to an anime. But the reason why I want to talk about it is because it did poorly in Japan. So poorly, in fact, that when it was given over to 4Kids for dubbing, they were like, yeah, just do kind of whatever you want with it. It did poorly, so we're not expecting anything of it.
And it became Ultimate Muscles.
And then it became Ultimate Muscle, which was so successful, 4Kids went over to them and said, look, we made a load of money off of this.
Give us more of this.
We are willing to pay you to give us another season of this.
I love it.
Just
I love
make
it.
it.
I love
And they
it.
did.
I love
Oh,
it.
you know what we didn't
And
talk
here's
about?
the other thing.
Sorry, you finish. Go ahead.
Part of the reason why I think it was so successful is I think the censors were asleep at the wheel for this.
Oh,
Oh,
probably.
now I gotta watch this.
No.
All right.
I'm gonna use one example and then I'll turn it back to
Go.
you.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
In the original sub, one character was named Gazelle Man.
Gazelle.
Oh, yes. Oh, I know where this is going. You know what his dumb name is?
In the English dub, they gave him a fitting but entirely inappropriate name. They named him,
Hands on the Sunday
and I
button.
shit you not, Dick Van Dyck.
Oh my God. Yeah, the censors were asleep.
You don't
Yeah.
know this. The Dick is a type of
Yeah,
small
it's a
Neanderthal
gazelle from
Oh, yeah.
Africa.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's a small. Yeah, absolutely.
Very
I love
cool.
it. But yeah,
Thank
they
you
were
for that.
asleep. We were going to talk briefly about how the dub of Speed Racer was really kind of one of the big sort of starts to North American introduction to anime.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So there's a rumor or a sort of legend that goes that two MTV executives were talking about what is cool and what could be cool. And the one said to the other that anything I show at midnight will become automatically cool. Doesn't matter what it is. Anything I show at midnight will be cool. And of course the other executive told him he was full of shit, so he took him up on the bet. And so our executive went and found the worst anime he could find, which was for him Speed Racer. Now that's subjective, of course. Some people love it. But so he went and he found the most nonsensical one he could find. He dubbed it with the cheapest, worst talent he could get, and he aired it at midnight. And Speed Racer became a sensation. Now, there's no evidence to back this little story up, but it's such a good story.
We love the urban legend.
We love the urban legends, and so it's really fun to hear you guys talking about how like some dubs are so good because they're terrible, and it's kind of like that has a very valid and important place in sort of the
There's a
culture.
very similar story about, you know how Danny Elfman used to be in this band called Oingo Boingo?
No,
Well, he did. But,
tell me all about it.
yeah, and he's got this song that it has become kind of a meme in the anime community simply because of certain associations. This song is called, and I quote, Little Girls.
Oh, no.
And the story goes that he was actually he made a bet with another guy, so like who could make the most inappropriate possible song and still get it on public radio.
And
Oh, wow.
there it
Won
was.
with that.
Oh wow. I love it.
You know, and my
It's
Sharona's out
It's
there.
supposed to be about like guys who are in their 50s dating women who are like 18.
Yeah, bad times.
Yeah, ew.
Bad times. Well, what do you got?
Yeah, so I did throw kind of an honorable mention on here. That's kind of a history of video games and anime. So there was a 14th century. So this goes back to the 1400s, folks. In the 14th century, there was a novel.
Song or Shin Dynasty?
It was the Han Dynasty.
Han.
So it was called Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
There we go.
And this was actually a 14th century novel, a book written.
I know, but it's one of the considered one of the 4 great Chinese novels.
One of the great. It's one of the great works.
Yeah. Journey to the West.
Chamber, I think, is the last
Yeah,
one.
and of course, Journey to the West was what Dragon Ball was based on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the Monkey King. And so, yeah, Romance of the Three Kingdoms started as a 14th century novel, and then it got into video game adaptations, manga, anime,
Dynasty
and
Warriors.
it's Dynasty Warriors. It's amazing the amount of things that have branched
I
off
think
from
my
Romance of the Three
favorite
Kingdoms.
one is one of the strategists from Romance gets reincarnated in the modern world and
Your
becomes
boy
a-
Kong Ming.
Your boy Kong Ming! And he becomes an idol manager.
Bloody awesome at it.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Your boy Kong Ming. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Carry on.
Oh, wait. Have you guys heard of an Xbox 360 game called Eternal Sonata?
Yes.
Yes.
It is the JRPG, which is implied to be the dying fever dream of Frederick Chopin. And this is not even the only video game which features Frederick Chopin as a prominent primary character.
What's interesting
It's
about
not the only one. There's
Yeah.
2.
What's interesting, especially about Western composers like Chopin, Beethoven, Mozart to an extent, is because the Japanese education system focused so heavily on sort of performative, like you learn to play the piano or you learn to play the violin, like it became the status symbol. These sort of composers were forced into the consciousness of the youth. And as they grew older and sort of began to rebel and create their own art, they would go back and say, oh, you know who would have a really crazy fever dream? Chopin. Yes, he would.
Well, we've talked about a lot of games.
We've talked about a
The
lot
good,
of
the bad, the
games,
ugly.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
I want to say, I think though our audience is small, we have found our people.
Yeah, so again, thank you so much for coming in.
I would.
I agree, and this is a quality audience. Give yourselves a big hand.
We're not gonna have a voice for podcasting.
Well, you got half the equipment.
And face for radio.
So I actually do have one more to bring up.
Okay,
Yes,
let's do
go
it.
for it.
Alright, so there's this anime called Bofuri.
Okay, what's it
Can't
about?
say I've heard it.
It is a slice of life that takes place in an MMORPG.
Okay.
Is this the one where she like maxes out her defense stat?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I watch a lot of trash.
I know, right?
Refuse to believe that the main character is anything but Canadian.
Okay.
Why?
But she's
Well, for starters, she picked out her name as Maple.
that
Okay,
is true.
yeah, yeah.
But Maple has a lot of connotations.
No, yes. Until you realize that she named her pet turtle Syrup.
Oh no! But you know, actually, it's funny because in Japan they love maple
Yes.
wood, maple syrup, maple
Yes.
leaves.
And then they decide, you know
I
what?
got all of that here.
You know what? Let's make Maple a war criminal.
Oh wow!
Yeah, right. She's Canadian.
Canadian.
So there's like, here's some food, and then okay, more food coming. Here's some bombs.
No. What it is her first boss, she went against the first boss with poison resistance and eventually got poison immunity
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
against a poison themed boss.
Classic SK kind of like I
She
get it,
then ate the boss to death.
Ate the boss to death.
Yes.
Num 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 num.
Ate it.
This allowed her to summon the poison boss as a summon.
Oh,
Now I've got your power.
wow, that's
Meaning
great.
Her main method of offense
Is
is
poison
literally poison gas.
Wow.
Welcome to Canada, Maple. You have been adopted. Do not resist.
Yeah, a lot of the
Remember, it's not the Geneva
But also,
list.
Yeah.
this game is beyond broken.
right. The Geneva Convention was because hey Canadians, settle down.
For us, it's just a Geneva suggestion.
Remember,
Right.
we never break the rules, but when we're done, there's
Hey there, bud. We play fair.
Rules are made.
Yeah.
Yeah, we play fair unless you declare war on us, eh?
Now, here's the thing. This game is really fun because it's broken.
Yeah.
Like, there's a running joke that in an abridged series about it, where you're not watching Maple and her shenanigans, because they're just assuming that all of that is happening as canon. No, the abridged series decides, okay, we're not going to pay attention to Maple. we're gonna focus on the developers.
Like, oh my god.
So, the abridged series pokes fun at the fact that the developers are witnessing Maple do all of this shenaniganry, and they're like, okay, how are we patching this?
I love
So
it.
you're
I
saying
love
it's
it.
sort of a Mystery Science Theater 3000 commentary on it, whether
Yes.
they're watching gameplay footage and deciding
Man, I miss
Yeah.
this player is the best in our game.
Yes, but
Well-
eventually, she becomes a selling point for the game.
Yeah, right?
Because-
Everyone wants to see someone break shit.
Yeah, it's so fun to see her break this stuff, and so fun for people to try and challenge this.
Well,
I think using the abridged one, it's like what they witnessed her do that, and you hear their explanation for all of it, and it's like, wow, that explains it.
Yeah.
So their explanation was, hey, you know the Hydra? Remember the boss that drops unique equipment if you're under level? Yeah, is it bugged? Is it one-shotting players again? No, if anything, the opposite.
That's
Just watch.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for sharing. We're gonna.
Yeah, we're
I'm
gonna-
gonna check it out because I actually haven't seen that one before.
we're
so-
gonna have to
Recommend it.
call the night, but again, really thank you all for coming in.
One question left for your podcast.
Go.
Okay.
How many episodes do you usually release? Like,
We are
a week, or-
episode 46.
This is
47?
episode 47.
Oh.
We try to do about one a week. We take some breaks during the summer and around the holidays season, but we've been trying to do about one a week. About 42 a year usually.
As the format evolves and we get kind of better at it, we are going to be going more video, audio.
Yeah, I'm renovating my basement to switch to a video format.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that's what the camera's here for today. This is our first video format episode.
Oh,
That's not entirely true.
That's actually not entirely true. We do have a VR episode on YouTube where we were playing.
You can see us
VR.
shake it to Beat Saber.
Beat Saber.
You've caught us being a bunch of dumbasses on camera.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
pretty much.
I mean,
I mean, scrolling on my phone looking for examples of bad anime video games while just talking.
I love it, I
Oh,
love
God,
it.
this is gonna be on camera,
Oh,
isn't it?
actually, sorry, this is a bit of a silly thing
Sure.
about games and anime, but I play Hearts of Iron 4, and one of the sillier things you do is the alternate history mods.
Oh
And
god, those are
subse-
wild.
And subsequently, people are like, what if this was alternate history, but anime?
But and yep.
I love it.
And you get some wild character choices.
There
I
was
think
a-
I had,
Access. There was a mod for that.
yeah, but the one I remember the most is, and I can't remember what events led to it, but I was playing through Kaiserreich, which is an alternate history of what if Germany won World War One,
Right.
playing as the U.S. And I can't remember what led to it happening, but but one of the characters was, their regular portrait was replaced by a picture of Samus Aran, and it's like, so you're telling me that Samus Aran is now President of the United States of America?
Hey, it could be worse.
Listen, she walks around in a suit with a big gun, like it's America.
There was another one that had the Pope replaced by someone else,
Well,
and the Carlist Spain monarch was a magical girl.
Oh my gosh.
it's
I love
perfect.
it.
Well,
folks,
thank you, and as we always say before we sign off,
good luck.
have fun.
Don't die.
Same to you.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah, thank you again.
Guys and gals, we appreciate it. Like I said, even though it was a small audience, we're so grateful for having you here and getting to meet you guys and gals and chatting about all of our favorite games. And it's been a blast.
The cards on the chairs, those are yours. We also have some cards up front if you want to steal a few.
Do we have any more stuff that we can?
We have some cookies and marshmallows.
Hello Kitty marshmallows. Anybody who didn't receive anything
I
yet?
unfortunately have to go, but
All right. Cheerio. All right, here come the marshmallows.
How are you getting?
Are you ready to catch some marshmallows?
I'm gonna have to take a.
sure.
Someone catch marshmallows. Mazel tov, it's a boy.
We finished recording.
Oh yeah.